What if your solar panels didn't just, quit when the clouds rolled in? Imagine them actually working better, maybe even thriving, in the rain.
Hmm.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into something called rain-powered solar. And we're setting our scene in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is a kind of a fascinating place for this, right? All that sun, but then those big monsoon rains.
It really is a potential game changer. We're not just talking small tweaks to existing solar. The real innovation here, well, it's these hybrid systems. They use sunlight, of course, but they also harness energy from raindrops. And that's thanks to some pretty exciting recent breakthroughs in the tech. It's about making energy generation truly all weather.
Okay, yeah, let's unpack this because
Yeah.
how? How do panels capture energy from rain? That sounds, I don't know, a bit like science fiction.
Well, what's fascinating here is the core technology. Triboelectric nanogenerators, TMs for short, they work using something called contact electrification. You know, like when you rub a balloon on your hair and get static,
Oh, okay, yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
thing?
yeah.
It's sort of like that, yeah. Tanks do something similar, but it's triggered by tiny water droplets hitting a very specialized surface on the panel.
So it's not just the force of the raindrop, it's the specific material it hits.
Exactly. We're talking advanced materials. One way uses fluorinated carbon CFX as a coating on these next-gen perovskite solar cells. Now, this coating does two things. It waterproofs the cells, which is crucial, but amazingly, it still lets through about 95% of the light for the solar part.
95%, wow.
Right, right. Or another method uses these super hydrophobic CIO layers. They act as anti-reflective coatings, which helps the solar efficiency, and they're the surface for the Tang part. The numbers we're seeing in the research are pretty impressive, almost 16% efficiency for the solar conversion.
Okay, that's good for perovskites.
It is. And then about 12.5% mechanical energy conversion just from the raindrops. And crucially, durability looks promising too. These PSCs, the perovskite solar cells, they tested them under really high humidity and temperature for 10 days, and they still kept half their efficiency. Plus, some have these radiative cooling layers that can drop the panel temperature by over 24 degrees Celsius. That really helps them last longer.
That's a huge step. Efficient in sun and rain, and tough enough for rough weather. But why Albuquerque? It's a desert city famous for sunshine.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting. You're right. Albuquerque gets, what, over 280 sunny days a year. Massive potential for standard solar. But then you have the monsoon season, July to September usually. It doesn't rain all the time, but you get those intense bursts, maybe 3 to 5 inches total. That specific pattern, lots of sun, then periods of rain. It's almost the perfect activation cycle for these tens. Makes it an ideal real-world test lab.
So the climate's a perfect match. What about, the bigger picture in Albuquerque? Is the city ready for this? Infrastructure, policies?
That's another key piece. Albuquerque is actually aiming for 100% renewable energy for city operations by 2025. They've got projects like the big 25 milliW solar direct already, so there's commitment, and there's infrastructure you could potentially adapt, like maybe the solar canopy at Alameda Open Space. That could be perfect for a pilot. And then there's manufacturing. Mesa del Sol is really becoming a hub. You've got companies like Maxion, even Solar investing there. They're actively working to bring panel costs down, maybe from $3 a watt towards $2 a watt by 2026. Having local manufacturing helps massively with adoption.
Okay, so let's bring it down to the ground level. What does this mean for you, the listener, maybe thinking about putting panels on your roof? Is this practical yet?
Yeah, that's the important question, the economics. Right now, these hybrid panels, they probably have about a 15 to 20% cost premium over standard ones. But federal tax credits help a lot. That's 30%. And New Mexico has its own 10% state credit. That brings the net cost down significantly. Look, residential solar in Albuquerque already has some hurdles, like PNM's grid tie fee, maybe $8.50 a month, and payback periods can stretch to 20 years. But a hybrid system, well, it could really improve that return on investment because you're generating power even when the sun isn't shining, offsetting more grid use. There are still some regulatory things to figure out with generating power from intermittent rain, but people are working on technical fixes like circuits that charge capacitors directly.
Okay, so advantages, but it can't be all smooth sailing.
Yeah.
What are the big challenges right now? I'm thinking maybe that desert heat, dust.
You've hit on the key technical limitations. Yes, Albuquerque's summer heat, easily getting over 35 Celsius. That does reduce solar efficiency, maybe 0.5% for every degree over the standard test temperature. And dust. Absolutely. It's the desert. Without some kind of automated cleaning, which isn't standard yet, you still need regular cleaning to keep efficiency up. The desert always finds a way to challenge you, right?
Right, always something. But okay, looking past those hurdles, what's the sort of vision here? Where could this go?
Well, Albuquerque seems uniquely positioned to really lead the way on this rain-powered solar innovation. The strategy seems pretty clear. Start with pilot programs, maybe like we said at Alameda Open Space. Use the manufacturing incentives through Mesa del Sol to push costs down further. And run public awareness campaigns. Show people it works, show the benefits, and then look at scaling it up.
So, wrapping this up, what this deep dive really shows is how some smart innovation can turn seemingly opposite weather conditions, bright sun and pouring rain, into one continuous energy opportunity. It's about making every single drop count, you know?
Exactly. And if you think bigger picture, imagine a future where every raindrop hitting a surface could be like a tiny power plant. It contributes to energy independence, sure, but it also helps build truly resilient energy systems, systems that work reliably no matter what the weather's doing outside. That kind of resilience, that's fundamental for a modern, reliable grid.